business or anything, just to keep it kind of small and niche. And I want people to actually share stuff that I'll send the YouTube link out ever, but it's not like broadcasted. So with the partners, I know a handful of you have been to our events. Some of you may know our partners, some not, but I also know that anybody who has experienced any mild success in real estate is used to being harassed by vendors constantly. So that's not going to happen. These people are here, Tony, Michelle, Christopher, because they, as agents, I'm talking to you right now, as you're experts in your field, they're rock star experts in their field. And I really just believe that they can be a resource to help you navigate and, you know, maybe move along a transaction. And so I look, nothing what I do is possible without them. Literally, I cannot put on the events that we put on. We can't produce the publication and make it look sleek and sexy and pay our design team for making it look good, and, you know, the postage and everything like that. These are the people who make this all possible. So if you like what I do, you give them some love as well. And so, Tony, I think you were the first one on, so I'll have you go first, then Christopher, and then Michelle, and then we'll jump into the bulk of the call. Go ahead, Tony.
My name's Antonia Mills. I go by Tony, and I'm a real estate attorney. I've built my law practice around fitting the needs of real estate investors, so kind of being a one-stop shop for investor needs. I have been practicing real estate law since 2012, and I'm a sole practitioner and live in Uptown.
Go ahead, Christopher.
Hi, my name is Christopher Hubbard. I am the president of Hubbard Design Group. We are an interior design firm based in Humboldt Park. I've been in the business since 2008, and we're a full-service turnkey design firm specializing in high-end luxury interiors.
Go ahead, Michelle.
I'm Michelle Bobart. I work with Guaranteed Rate. So I've been in mortgage banking. Oh gosh, I don't want to date myself. North of 21 years, let's just say that. Yeah, and I've been with Guaranteed Rate for, gosh, 11 now. And I live in the South Loop.
Very nice. So, we will jump in now that everybody's semi-acquainted. And I felt like these little jam sessions take on kind of a mind of their own. I have found it just sometimes just takes people a while to warm up to each other, which is fine. But the more you guys can ask each other questions, I will obviously, this is the part really where I shut up. If I talk, the less people are going to get out of this. Obviously, I have some kind of conversation starters, which I very rarely need if there's like a 14-second awkward pause, but I usually find that doesn't happen with realtors. So I would just like to open it up. If anybody would like to go first, fine, just jump in. But what new strategies or just specific things, even since COVID or even since the past couple months, as the market's been, the summer market officially has been here, has anybody done to either reinvent themselves or just any nuances that seem to be working or not working? And I'll let people, I'll just let anybody go first, and we'll see what happens.
I'll start. I've actually had 2 closings with buyers that have not stepped foot in the house because of COVID. I did FaceTime with them. I was in the property, but they didn't step foot into the property until closing, which is almost unheard of unless you're an investor. But these are people buying homes, relocating to Chicago, and couldn't fly back and forth, and they were very comfortable. And it was a different mindset of caring for them and going that extra mile of I'm going to zoom in on every part of this house if you want to and I brought my tape measure and measured walls. I said, do you have any large furniture that I need to measure and all this stuff? So it's a very different world that we're living in. And I'm currently working on a 3rd one that is coming from Fort Bragg. And they're like, hey, Joe, we trust you. It's like, that's a lot of responsibility to be put on us for people to buy something almost sight unseen without physically stepping into the property. So that's mind-blowing for me.
Congratulations on getting it done though, right? You know, it's all about embracing change.
Yeah, for sure.
I haven't had that experience. I've just, with COVID, my business has my business has really changed a lot, where I have a lot of the buyers want more space, obviously, because of COVID, and the sellers want more space because of COVID. So I've seen, because of COVID, I've just seen kind of just a increase in business for people whose needs have been changing. You know, they have a 1-bedroom, now they want either a 2-bedroom, you know, with outdoor space, or a single family house with a backyard. So COVID has really changed a lot of, I think, people's needs. You know, I think those things that you I always tell clients, especially if they're buying a condo, there are certain things that you absolutely cannot change about the property. You can't change the fact that it does or does not have outdoor space. You can't change the location, and you know, you can't change, obviously, if you know the place has parking. So I think people are really kind of you know, being more focused on those types of characteristics of a new house.
So question, does that mean that condominium sales are drying up and people are wanting more single family homes? And to that end, are they staying in the city or are they moving away from the city?
You know, I personally feel like my condo sales have been much slower in this second half of the year since COVID. Just to give you an example, and it's probably a couple different factors. It's, you know, the first half of the year is always so much busier than the second half of the year, at least in my opinion. And from last year, like, it was, for me, like the last half of the year, I thought I would be able to sell these certain condos like very quickly, and they sat for months and months and months, and I couldn't sell them. And then, you know, some other agent picked them up in the spring and sold them with multiple offers, like the same thing that I couldn't sell for, you know, for 5 months. You know, I'm having the same exact scenario this year. I sold an identical condo in the same building. We were listed in February. This is in Logan Square, listed in February, for 410, closed in April. So after after the quarantine, or during the quarantine, for $397,500. I have the same unit 1 floor below, but it has hardwood floors in the bedroom. I can't sell it for $387,500. I'm getting like a showing a week or 2 showings a week. So I don't do a lot of business in like the kind of more densely populated areas like River North, Gold Coast, South Loop. But that's just kind of what I'm seeing in you know, just a personal experience in Logan Square. Like I can't sell the same thing that I sold in April for, you know, almost $10,000 less.
That's true.
So I see a lot of that too, but I think it's a little bit of the opportunity that exists due to the uncertainty. I think that a lot of people are very well educated without a realtor, without a lender, without anyone really. And I believe that a lot of people have leveraged that because they are cognizant that there is something, right? It's imminent. Something's going to happen. I would hope everyone in this room agrees to some level, and whether it's small, big, or in between. And I think that what I've experienced with buyers in particular has been that they are cautious, that they are strategic, and as opposed to emotional, and finding that, you know, the home is, I can see my children growing up and, you know, establishing deeper roots. We're finding this dollar value seems to give me peace of mind that if something happens in the next 12 to 16 months, that I can at least say, okay, you know what, I've achieved my goal. I have been able to leverage where I need to be to get to the next level. And that's where I'm at. And in the inverse, I see the same thing with sellers. I see a lot of my sellers, you know, to be frank with you, it's, to your point, either one end of the spectrum or the other, where they're selling like hotcakes, multiple offers, enhanced values that are unprecedented, even if there was higher sales predicted for the area. But I also have some beautiful listings that are just sitting on the market that there is no method to the madness. It is just odd. It's and my clients are looking at me like, what's going on? Like, you're posted on Instagram that you sold this within 24 hours with 8 offers.
Yeah.
But I've been on market for 90 days and I'm a 1-bedroom condo in the Gold Coast,
Yeah.
So it's very it's interesting,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of what I've been hearing from my real estate friends, real estate broker friends, colleagues, is that they are seeing an exodus, number one, from the city because of a lot what's been going on with the marches and the looting and so forth. And they're looking for single family homes on the outskirts of the city, still within Chicago proper, but in the surrounding suburbs, right? They want to be 10 miles away, where they feel they have a little more security. And also, a lot of my friends who live in large multi-unit developments have seen, their neighbors contract COVID, because when you bring a lot of people together, someone in a 200 unit building is going to contract COVID. So there's a lot of fear as well surrounding where I want to land, where I want to, raise my kids, and what that safety looks like in today's environment, right?
I agree.
So, and that the purchase of a home, as you know, is very emotional. So everyone's tied to something, whether it's the school district or whether it's convenience or I'm close to the expressway, am I close to my job? What we're seeing today is unprecedented in a way. So when you talk about the 1-bedroom condo sales, you probably won't see a lot of those. I just think people are moving away from that, congested, Gold Coast sort of living, because there's no social aspect of life anymore, right? I think it's sort of dissipated and it's gone away. So like what we're doing right now, right? And people buy 1-bedroom condos because they're young and they're social and they want to be with their friends and they want to go out. We're just not seeing that either.
Yeah, I mean, so in line with that, your question originally, Christopher, was, do you see people leaving the city, flocking to the suburbs? I think I talked to Andy on one of these about a month and a half ago, and I had at that point not seen any of that. A lot of my friends are like, my best friends are buying a house right now. A lot of them are buying downtown. And about a month and a half ago, I had not one single person who was actively buying saying, you know what, I'm in the downtown area, I want to move out. And now I do see that. So I think I told you that before, Andy, where it was just like very few people in my life, my sphere, were doing that. And now I see people contact me out of the blue, where they had just bought a condo with me a year and a half, 2 years ago, said, you know what, we want to move to Naperville. So I've shifted my business. So I advertise out there now, because it's literally shooting fish in a barrel out there. If you have a buyer or if you have a listing, you prep them properly and know that they got to be ready, willing, and able to go. You can do some good work out there.
Yeah, just I can tell you, I have been contacted by, I think, 5 sellers in the last 2 to 3 weeks, 5 to 6 sellers in the last 2 to 3 weeks. And one was like, yeah, I think we want to sell. I don't know where we want to go. We might just go to Montana for a couple months, but I want to sell my condo. And I'm like, okay, we'll try. We'll give it a go. You're in the heart of Lincoln Park with no parking. We'll try though. So yeah, I think people are definitely, there's definitely more people. Some of my sellers are relocating for work. They're leaving Chicago and they're going out of state completely. There's also I've also been contacted by a lot of people who are want to buy second homes up in Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana. Myself, I'm guilty of all of this. We own 3 multi-unit buildings in Logan Square. I'm selling 2 of them. And we bought a house up in Wisconsin. I'm like, we gotta get away for a little bit. So people are making moves. They're making moves for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, I would agree that a lot of people are very nervous out there. Even though I've seen a lot of multiple offers, especially in the single family home
Yeah.
market versus condo market. But I'm also seeing a lot of those come back to the market
Mm-hmm.
because people are nervous. They know that they paid more than someone else did, and they get nervous. And a lot of people have put off selling or buying because of potential job loss situation or getting paid a little bit less because whatever industry they're in, they're worried about being furloughed. So there's a lot of nervousness. And even though there's a lot of activity, I am seeing a lot of things fall back off market that were under contract. And then potentially you're then missing the boat. You're going on right away, you're getting multiple offers. And 2 weeks later, if you come back on the market, you may not be getting those multiple offers anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's weird out there. It really is. But there's opportunity. There's opportunity.
Yeah. I listed a little single family house in Logan Square last Thursday, and I ended up with 5 offers, and 2 of them were significantly higher than the list price. And Joe, I swear I'm very concerned that, it's a first time home buyer house, it's all fingers crossed that it doesn't fall apart. And then you lose that like lackluster if you come back on the market.
Yeah.
So,
Michelle, being on the lending side of things, are you seeing appraisal issues? I'm starting to see a couple of those, especially with people buying things 20,000 over list. Are you seeing that on your side? Appraisal issues?
I haven't had the appraisal issues yet. But you're right. I mean, it's so from my seat, I'm doing, like I said, I'm busy and blessed. Like I've never in my career been this busy. So again, I've got the refi calls coming in too. But really, I'm doing an average of 5 client consultations a day. It's managing life transition. A lot of emotion. So it's just a lot of coaching. I'm seeing all of the above that you guys have just discussed. I am seeing my young families that would, they're just like, they would be holding out till the oldest is in kindergarten to make their move to the suburbs. They're doing it now, when the kids are 1 and 3 versus like 4 and 5 or something. So just for that desire for the outdoor space for the children and everything and themselves, right? So I'm seeing a ton of migration out of Chicago. Now, like with husband and wife reevaluating, we can live anywhere. We're going to work from home. So why not live in a second home area? So the second homes, I'm actually licensed in about 40 states. So, I have to follow my clients basically, because they're leaving. Some of them are leaving. So, or, just supporting them with second home purchase. And so I'm seeing a lot of that, and I'm seeing a lot of people converting a second home to a primary, so it's a very interesting time. But the people that, we're large metro, affordability is condos. The young folks, I'm still doing plenty of condo transactions. What I'm seeing is the youngins that were all like starry-eyed by these high-end luxury rentals with all these amenities, right? They're paying $3,500 for a 1-bedroom or whatever they're doing crazy. They are now going like, okay, let me buy something because at least I control my space, right? And so that's what I'm seeing is starting to gobble up our condo market. But yeah, no, and I'm with you. Like, where I'm being challenged is like, and this is what I want to ask you all. What I'm seeing a lot of is I'm getting these 911 calls at like 8 o'clock at night. Like, we just saw a house. I heard there's 5 offers in, and the buyer isn't even pre-approved. They've even talked to me, but these buyers are coming to you all out of the woodwork. They've been, like you said, Nick buyers are educated. They've been looking online since COVID started, right? Zillow, whatever, their little searches. And then they're coming, and then it's like a 911. I haven't even talked to them yet, but they need me to crank out a pre-approval in 20 minutes because they've got 5 offers, something's going on. So so there's I'm feeling a lot of intensity around that. And so that's one of the things I wanted to ask you all is, besides low inventory in the city, like, what are you seeing for challenges with your buyers' offers? I mean, because that's what I'm feeling on my side is like, normally you have that methodical process. Oh, go talk to a lender and get pre-approved. And you're getting like out of the woodwork a call from a client from a year ago, like you said, you just sold a condo to, and they're like ready to make a move, So I'd be curious to just hear more about that.
I can just give you an example of what I just dealt with this multiple offer situation. So we had 2 almost identical offers. The top 2 offers were almost identical, and one offer, and the agents were both great. I would have, enjoyed working with both of the agents. The differences with the offer, excluding the lender, which the lender made a big deal, made a big difference for me too, or difference for my clients too. The one offer, the lender was guaranteed rate, and then the other offer, the lender was CIBC. So a larger bank. I had never done a loan with CIBC. I've been in business since 2006. But my seller clients had purchased with guaranteed rates. So we kind of felt, a little bit more, security with guaranteed rate. But then the one offer that they chose, they wrote a personal letter to my sellers, and they, were high school sweethearts. They had pictures in the letter, and they're like, oh my gosh, we were high school sweethearts too. And so they went with that offer, and it was identical offer. But the other offer wrote a letter. And I always tell my clients, even if it's not a multiple offer situation, to write a letter, because the seller will never meet you. So, if the seller likes their house, which most of the times they do, they want to see, who's going to be buying my house.
Emotional. Yeah. That's great. That's interesting. Yeah. I haven't heard that. That's great. So that's a good tip for my people that are like diving in on the multiple bids. So that's great.
Yep. Yeah. I was actually surprised.
I've had clients do that before too. I'm also seeing more escalation clauses as well with the offers that are being submitted, because my brokers are telling me that we're in a final and best situation. It kind of ties my hand as an attorney, however, because when it's time to write the attorney review letter and try to advocate for the client, there's not too much wiggle room there. Like I'll see a tax expiration for 100%, and I was like, I'm looking at 110% increase. They're like, you can't ask for that. It's like, okay, so it kind of ties my hands a bit in this market to be able to do some of the traditional things that I would do for my first time home buyers. But with me working predominantly a lot with real estate investors, I mean, their properties are going prior to the work even being completed. A challenge that I've had with some of those is that, they're getting a property, that's had building code violations on it since 2012, and they're trying to work with the city to get permanent injunctions and things lifted. And the courts are moving so slow and being able to get inspectors in or being able to get hearings with the court. And so that's kind of a challenge that we're seeing with our real estate investors now, is that COVID kind of halted and stopped some of the court proceedings and some of the access to being able to get permits or inspections completed. So they've gone through and they've done all of this work, and then we're slowed down in the closing process to try to get these things released and get the title clear. And because the inventory is so low, the properties are going like hotcakes, but we're often kind of have like brakes put on to try to clear the title and get everything fixed and resolved, so we can transfer it without violations and things like that on title.
I have something to throw in. So speaking to Joe, what your question you originally asked me about the appraisals, are we seeing appraisal issues? So like, as I haven't seen them, knock on wood, like haven't had any issues yet, but speaking to your escalation clause, Tony, like one thing I think is super important, like if you're going in and you're looking at the comps going, oh, this one might not appraise out, because what the market's bearing. But if your clients are like to die for this home, one thing I think to do is just manage expectations, is say, hey, you need to talk to your mortgage banker and just have them run numbers, because like if your intention is to put 20% down, and now, explain to them how it works, appraisal comes in lower, it's going off the lower of the two. So now all of a sudden your 20% down, mortgage down payment is going to look like a 15% down to the bank, because they're using the lower of the two, the appraised value or the purchase price. And having, but the good news is, if a client's credit scores are good, and they don't want to put more money down because, you know, maybe they already got the money earmarked for some, you know, refresh on the home, then, you know, have the mortgage banker run up the plan A and plan B. Because even if the buyer has to take a little bit of PMI insurance, what's really nice, what we have working to our advantage right now is because there's more comfort back in the market, what I have drastically seen happen is the PMI rates that I was quoting a year ago are significantly lower now. So, you know, it might only be adding $35 a month to their payment if they're in that 85% loan to value ratio bracket. It's really not that bad. The PMI is not awful. So, you know, if they've got this frenzy going on where, you know, they've got timing logistics of a sale, they got to get kids in school, you know, blah, 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 blah. You just have to go, hey, is it worth $35 a month? You can totally, you know, we're a low closing cost state. You can refi for next to nothing in 6 to 12 months and reposition your mortgage debt. But like for now, you know, how important is it? I mean, is it worth $35 to you? So just painting the A and the B picture so that it isn't a crisis, you know, if the appraisal comes in light, you know, because you go like, look, here's a CMA. This is what the market's showing right now. You know, we've got a 50-50 chance of this, you know, hitting this, you know, this appraised value of your purchase price, but are you willing to pay $5,000 so you don't have to stress, you know, over asking so that you don't have to stress about your kids? And because, you know, most of our clients are, you know, they're everyone in the city is almost at least combined household of 6 figures. So for them, losing $5,000, you know, overpaying by $5,000, but getting because, you know, I know what I'm hearing as I'm listening to clients is there's this fear of resurgence of COVID. You know, the numbers go crazy again, and we all are in lockdown mode. And, you know, they want to be transitioned, right? They want to have their families transition. So that's just an interesting way to spin it. Like, so Joe, like, you know, just so then your deal doesn't fall apart. Or again, you know, you have a heart to heart with the other agent, you know, and be like, all right, you know, you got to do your best sale on this, get the best comps when the appraiser comes in the door. But, you know, and here's what I'm doing to coach my clients, you know, and that'll feel, I don't know, I mean, just collaborating that way between the listing and the buyer's agent, just an idea.
Got a couple follow-ups on that. When specifically on multiple offers, if you're on the listing side, so one of the things we started doing in our office when we're winning in a multiple offer scenario, we're celebrating that and we're giving those tips as to how we won. So instead of saying, hey, we sold this in 3 days over ask and stuff like that, let's tell the story about how our sellers won, how our buyers won in a multiple offer scenario. So on the sell side, one of the things I'm doing now, if I've got a listing that's getting multiple offers, is I am having that conversation with those two similar offers to say, hey, if the appraisal is an issue, is your buyer willing to make up the difference? So ask that up front. And some of them might be like, no, we're not going to do that. If it appraises, you know, too low, we're going to ask for a reduction. And so in terms of picking the best buyer, ask that question. If there's an appraisal issue, does your buyer have the funds to make up that difference? Right? On the buy side, it's different things like strategies of, if you really want this, we've spent time in the house, let's write it as is. Right? We're not going to nickel and dime them for that GFCI outlet or that window that's all fogged up. If you really want to win, not only the escalation clause, but be willing to do it as is. One of the challenges I have with the letters and photos that Anna mentioned, I hear people do that as a strategy, and maybe Tony, you could chime in on this being wearing your attorney hat, is I actually had a buyer who lost out because the other buyer did submit a photo and a letter and was touting themselves as a family with kids. And my guy was a single gay guy, and he felt like, was I discriminated against because I'm a single gay guy and they're promoting themselves as a family? So Tony, I'd like to hear your perspective on that, because he was pretty pissed about that. He's like, I feel like I lost out because I didn't have a family.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, that's hard to tell, right? Because you're talking about a fair housing issue, right? And saying that, your client, because they were not that like large family, and that the seller therefore had the opportunity to be able to discriminate against your client based on them having received a letter, appealing to the seller. I think that's kind of a hard reach to make, at least in that sense, for a fair housing violation. I think that, sometimes that can just kind of play to your advantage. You wouldn't be able to I don't think you would be able to file a claim and get really any sort of or sense of action around that. I think that you've got to, in this market, if you've got a client that, might be a gay male that doesn't have like the opportunity to be able to like write this compelling letter about these are my thousands of kids and we're going to have this great experience in your home, but being able to lean into your client's strengths and why they may want or deserve that property. I mean, for me as a single woman, I purchased a property on my own. I didn't write a letter or anything, but I had really kind of personalized myself to the listing broker, and had, I had my parents with me, and, we were chatting them up. And so we were in a best and final offer situation, and they'd remembered having a conversation that my parents were going to be going on vacation at some place that the listing broker had gone to. And from there, they were like, okay, we really want to try to make this work for me, which is great. And so maybe trying to think about advantages, or if you want to do a letter or something that can be done that can, because every buyer has a story. And so being able to tell that story, if your client is a gay male, have him tell the story about, about how he loves this neighborhood, how he has tons of friends in this area, and this would, really make his quality of life better, and, the opportunities to be closer to work, to be able, just thinking about the things about your particular buyer, regardless of what their phase of life is, that can make them more relatable, as opposed to just a contract, but more relatable to that seller potentially.
Yeah, and I wasn't suggesting that he was going to file a grievance or anything like that, but that's how he felt. He's like, they picked a family because it was a family.
Yeah, that family told their story, and so they were able to kind of tug on the heartstrings of the seller. Everybody has that opportunity to be able to do that if they feel comfortable with it.
Agreed. They all have a story that they can tell.
Hey, Michelle, I've got a question about appraisals.
Sure.
What's your thought on these desktop and drive-by appraisals? Because the logical human in me says this is not sustainable.
So one of the things, I do give, I've said, I've really tried to keep this whole thing in perspective, and I've kept my little COVID blessings list, along the way as we've been all navigating this crazy. And, one of the things that I really do give kudos to with Fannie and Freddie is that they really did try to adapt, so that we could keep real estate deals moving, which I really appreciated that. Because again, there were challenges like, how do I sell a house when, my seller doesn't even want people to walk in my, in the house or what have you. And so I really do appreciate that. And it has really helped. I haven't had, it's funny because we're doing all these desktops now, I have listing agents quite often reach out and be like, hey, I haven't heard from the appraisal. And I'm like, it's already back and we came in at value. Like, it's just weird. It's a weird thing, like it's not normal, but I'm getting that a lot. So again, I'm averaging, it's crazy town right now. I'm probably averaging 45 to 50 units a month that I'm closing. And I've probably had 1 or 2 in the past 4 months where I've gotten challenged, with the desktop. So the good news is, like, it's for me personally, just from my seat, it hasn't been huge yet. It is a little weird, right? And I think if you have concerns, because you don't think the comps at face value tell the story, that the appraiser needs to walk through. I think, if you really have a concern about that, I would just say, talk to the other agent. If you're a listing agent, talk to the other agent, be like, really, my sellers are fine. We'd really like to have a full appraisal on this home. If you think it's going to be a challenge, because obviously you go through that whole rebuttal process. If, the appraisal comes in light and it's annoying, right? It's extra steps in the whole thing you want to avoid. So I mean, have you all had any desktops not do well? I mean, I've just got a good appraisal list. Like I got all downtown, Chicago guys, so they know the market really well. But, when you work with a big bank like Chase, I mean, they could send someone from Gurnee, downtown, right? So they're just clueless. So I'd be curious, have you had issues with the desktops?
Really quickly, everyone, I'm really sorry. I've got to hop off because I've got a 10 o'clock. But it was a pleasure to meet all of you, and it's been a great conversation.
Before you take,
Bye, have a good day.
Tony,
Yeah.
real quick, before you take off, everybody smile real fast, okay? 1, 2, 3, cheese. All right. Hey, appreciate you. Thanks for contributing, Tony.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
Michelle, I've had a few of those come back. On the listing side, we're all good over here, right? It's kind of in our interest to allow them not to come into the house, but the buyers are all looking at me like, what the hell is this? Like, and so to my question, do you think this is a new norm? Do you think that, say COVID exists forever, but we have a vaccine, people go back to living their lives, in 5-10 years, are people still doing desktop appraisals? Or do you think they'll be in the back pocket community? We'll go back to regular appraisals because it is more economical with use of their time to not show up. So
Absolutely. So it'll be, that's a great question. Really great question. I do think, Fannie and Freddie have continued to just really enhance their automation. Some of the ways, right? Like I get appraisal waivers right now, which is like a huge dream for me, especially with my low loan to value refis. Man, if I can cut that step out, it's beautiful. And we'll get appraisal waivers on purchases, which is fantastic. So I do think it's here to stay, unless we had some crazy repeat of, what we went in, in the 06, 08 mode, right? But we've self-corrected on all that stuff because there's not the crazy loan programs out there that there used to be. Those crazy things never came back, thank God. So I do think they're here to stay. I see automation. We're now, Fannie and Freddie are like, I can pull a transcript of someone's bank statement, so I don't even have to request bank statements anymore. I can pull a full verification of employment if their company's large and signed up on the work number, so that I don't even have to ask for pay stubs or W-2s. It's wild, how Fannie and Freddie have embraced and is leveraging technology. So I do think it's here to stay. So I just think, to your point, just being really strategic, that you almost frontline, be proactive. If you've got a little concern about the appraisal, where you're coming in on your list, that you just have that frank conversation, like with the buyer's agent, if it's your listing, and be like, look, I really prefer, my sellers have no problem with the appraiser coming in. We'd like a full inspection.
Right. Fair enough.
I would say that we also have, I like the words you use, that it's a weird market. Weird is the new normal now. What we're seeing is going to have a lingering effect for a while. It's not going to disappear on us. So get comfortable being in this weird state.
One of my friends said, you're never really comfortable in life unless you're comfortable being uncomfortable. It's kind of like a weird thought process, but it's like, you just have to be like, this is, because my team and I looked at things and we're like, this is nonsensical. Like, this doesn't make sense, but this is the world that we're living in. It doesn't make sense. So we, like I said, we just got to roll with it. So it's interesting.
Yeah, one of the things that my real estate friends have asked us to do is to help them decide what the upgrade cost will be versus if we're looking at a $1 million property and the kitchen isn't quite what the customer is wanting, what that additional cost would be to come in and maybe perhaps gut a kitchen or do some cosmetic changes, which really helps them make decisions. We do this after they've narrowed down the properties to 1 or 2 to help them make informed decisions. That's one value add that I think that we bring. So, and I'm seeing a lot of that where my clients and, not my clients yet, but we've been asked to go to Naperville, not physically, but virtually, to look at a specific property that they for sure want to invest in the kitchen, but they want to know what is that additional cost based on the solid surfaces that I want, based on the cabinet finish, based on all the hardware and all of the various materials that are involved in creating their dream kitchen. Sometimes it's 50,000, sometimes it's 200,000, right? So that's a big factor, I think, when someone's making a decision about purchasing a luxury property.
Christopher, are you seeing more people stay in their homes and use you to just do some improvements to it?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that, especially in outdoor spaces. But what we're also seeing is new purchases, and clients are, again, just, I think a lot of them are just uninformed. They just don't know, or maybe haven't worked with the designer before, don't understand the process, don't understand materials and where to go, and who's reliable, who's trustworthy, especially when it comes to contractors, right? Yeah. So, but we are seeing a lot of our customers staying in their homes and doing a refresh.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Several new customers from referrals from our real estate partners, and they want to really invest in the home, where they were thinking they would spend X amount, and then all of a sudden that number has doubled because they know they're going to be either working from home or be in their homes quite frequently. So that's sort of changed a lot.
Yeah, I'm hearing similar things with other contractors, designers, tradespeople. People are stuck in their home and they're like staring at the same walls and window treatments and tile, and they're like, I think I need to redo this. They're stuck at home all the time.
The fourth bedroom that had all the workout equipment is now an office, right? So, we're seeing a lot of that where, we know that we're going to be in our homes. Let's make it comfortable. I'm not going to the office, but what do I use every day at the office that would benefit me here in my home? And it's actually having an office, right? So we do see a lot of that, especially with new home purchases.
I would agree with that from my standpoint. We have an Airbnb on a separate entrance, separate keypad and everything. And now it's, now it's the kids' timeout room. I'm just kidding. It's, it's semi catch-all, but, it's a usable space, and we're obviously not Airbnb-ing it with COVID. So it's, extra space or overflow, stuff that we can just get other stuff done in, or, hey, we want to move this around and let's put everything in here for now, move it in, move it back, so it's been kind of nice. So.
And I say it ties into what we do as realtors is people are coming to us and say, I don't want an office in my bedroom. I don't want an office in my dining room. I want a separate office. I need that extra room now. I think Anna mentioned that earlier. People are looking for that extra room.
Yeah. Christopher, I'm curious. I actually, just from personal curiosity, are you seeing that? Do you kind of have that down to a science where if somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, can you design a extra office for us?" Or just the stereotypical things that people need during COVID. Like, I'm just curious, like for expansion or to redo a space.
Yeah, we do. There is a formula.
Okay, that's cool.
So, but everyone's needs are different, right? So it depends on your industry. It depends on your current work environment. If you have, two people working from home, a husband and a wife, how does that factor into that decision of how you lay out a space for, I'm on calls most of the time, or someone, doesn't make a lot of calls and doesn't need, Zoom meetings to function and to navigate their various industries. So it's a challenge, but there is a formula in the way we do it. Yes.
Cool. Do you do padded soundproof rooms for children?
We haven't done that yet, but it's possible. Yeah.
I had to. Sorry, I can't resist.
Yeah.
I'm derailing.
Like a lot of area rugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. My rule of thumb is
with that, I'm just going to add that if there's anyone here from the real estate brokerage side that needs a free consultation with their client to have a educated conversation about what to expect from their potential new purchase, I'm happy to, virtually do that. So just keep that in mind when you're working with your clients that may be on the fence, especially when it comes to a high-end property where it's a, a very expensive purchase and maybe their first time buying a home over $1 million, they might want that expertise or that advice.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
Is there any efficiency tools that you guys have used during COVID that you feel like, whoa, that actually was really good? Like this is something new that you've woven into your process that you didn't have before, that you actually are gonna say, hey, I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep what I'm doing there. That was something by default I had to do, but now it's like, whoa, that's really efficient to make the day more.
Asking me?
Anybody. I'm just saying with COVID life.
So,
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. So what I found is actually just sticking to really, really being simple with everything. Going back to the basics. I've talked to a couple of colleagues like in Denver. I've talked to a couple of colleagues out in South Carolina and everything. And they were telling me they were trying to do all this technology, but it wasn't working. But what I found is basically just getting really back to the basics. I'm calling at least 60 to 100 people a week. Just seeing how they're doing, seeing everything going on. It's leading to almost 20 to 25 leads a month that are converting at a 27% conversion rate right now. Writing handwritten notes, sending just a birthday. I really fine-tuned my birthday program that I have with people. So I have a list, I segment like people who've referred me like 3 people a year, 2 people a year, 1 person a year, and really just doing that. And then the only other thing technology-wise that I've seen, and again, I was going to say 30. I just turned 31. So I really should be all in this technology, doing all this and that. But what I found is that people are seeing the psychology of it being superficial, seeing it on social media. They're really losing faith on what the real, when we all come down to it, what it means to be a community. So I found just calling somebody, seeing how they're doing. Just legitimately just seeing how they're doing and not really asking for business like I typically do. I'm just getting leads out of the woodworks, just crazy amounts of leads. Like my goal this year is to do 220 leads this year at a conversion of 27%. You'll see that it gets you up to 25 million. We're already at 300 leads this year through COVID. And the only thing I'm doing, and if you guys want to take this, I'm just literally just calling all my past clients in the last year. Some tips that I'm doing for them is like, hey, let's see if you actually got a COVID discount. And then I send them like a CMA, find out that their neighbor, which they bought, the house 3 years ago, but their neighbor sold for like $50,000 more. They're like, oh, actually you might want to sell this now. So I'm finding those are being like the really big things. The only thing I really wanted to ask you guys, and I know this is completely off topic on the tools, is are you guys having the issue, one with, which I think you guys already hit on, buyers are a little bit out of control, meaning they want you to go at their speed for some reason, even though you try to make them not to do that. And then 2, are you guys having the issue of the sell? So your seller is going to sell, but then buy, but they want to wait to buy. So they want to find their place, and then they want to basically put their place on then. Are you guys having that issue at all?
Oh yeah.
What are you guys doing with that? Because I'm just trying to figure out, my method is we get it on, you start looking at a couple places, go to a couple of open houses. Then when we get an offer in on your house, you should be the one that basically can cancel the contract, not let somebody else do it. But they're all like, no, we want to find something first before we put it on. I'm just wondering how you guys are navigating that.
I try and reverse engineer it. I understand the position, I understand where they want to be, and what is it going to take to get where they want to be. And I literally talk them through the timeline like we are right now. Does this make sense to you? More than not, it doesn't make sense to them. And I go, well, then here's the logical thing to do. The more rational side of this would be to list your home first. I always have them go out and take a look first, get, acclimated, assimilate to what the immediate market is. And I think that initial going out into a car is the biggest piece of education they can get outside of you just being brutally honest. I still have people saying I'd like to buy it first, but then they realize, I feel after time, at what point does it become, are you going to be the one that sells right away? Or are you going to be the one that does not, And I think when they see that, they see the numbers, they see how as a buyer who is also a seller, or they're walking into a property that is beautiful, that is seemingly priced fair to them, but it's been on market for 200 days. Well, there's a story that tells, hey, this could be you too. And I think that that is something that has driven the force in, okay, let's go back to what the person that does this every day for a living has advised me to do, because now we get built on real lifetime data, but also on paper.
Yep. Okay, that's good to know. That's what I might try to do then with them on that. And
There's people that I always get are going to think they know more than us, right? So then
oh yeah,
I try and make sure they understand to the level of, hey, it's not me. This is an objective opportunity right here that is living what you might live, you know? And right now I'm seeing quite a bit of that, where the listings are on market for 150, 200 days, and they're nice listings. And ultimately it's the price, you know, or to our other discussions about people not wanting to be in the downtown metro area as much, or in a beautiful high rise that has a full amenity concept. But either way, it helps at least my clients understand, man, the uncertainty there, I don't want to roll that dice. And then they come full circle.
Cool. Appreciate it.
Yep.
So sorry to go off topic. And that was like my one question I wanted to really ask you guys in the beginning was
Good.
Michelle. Yeah. So
I would say, Nick, you know, in terms of what is the strength of the buyer coming in if they don't have all that equity from the sale, and explaining to them, if you're in a multiple offer situation and you're only putting 5% down, if you go now versus you sell the place and then you have 20% down, you're going to be a much stronger buyer in that position. If they can qualify to be a buyer first, you know, go with them on that.
Are you guys on your listings now? Now, Joe, you brought up a good point. Are you guys still going with the point of making sure everybody's pre-approved that those are showing with you on your listings?
Not at time of showing, but at time of offer for sure.
Okay.
Me too.
In terms of tools, what are we on right now? Zoom. That wasn't a thing, you know, 6 months ago for
Oh my
most
gosh.
the other thing too is, since we're not out in person with a lot of people, our social media presence has to like go way up. And for an older person like myself, it's like,
there's a good app, Joe, if you wanted to use that really makes it look professional. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, called Canva.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say that one makes you look like a rock star.
It's not the material, it's the time and effort to put into the design and then posting it up there. You know, what are good posts to have, and just having the time to do that if it's not part of your normal routine. It's almost like I need to hire someone just to be my social media posting person.
Now, which are you guys, is anybody getting any leads at all from any social media, like at all, like Instagram, or I don't know if people really do Snapchat like that, or Facebook? What's that?
Well, that'd be wild to lead off Snapchat. I don't remember the last time I was on there. It's so like transient, I feel.
Yeah, I have seen a couple realtors do TikTok, which has been interesting.
It's funny.
Got leads off LinkedIn, but that's just because I've been posting consistently over 6 years or so. But somebody will direct message me, you know, Instagram too, but it's not. It's oddly enough, it's not a friend or a person from my immediate sphere. It's somebody that's like a third person removed that has just been following, you know. So it's not like it's coming in droves, you know. But I think that to your point, Canva, I've used this entire time, and it's great. It's free.
Same.
You know?
Awesome.
I agree with the going back to like a system or like what has worked for you, the basics. Handwritten card, calling people. People are excited to talk to you. I mean,
yeah, because they don't talk to anybody else.
Right.
I was gonna say,
it doesn't come. You're not throwing a pitch. It doesn't come off. You know, like you're trying to look for business. So I agree big time on that one.
Also, I want to just interject. If you have to hop off, we blocked an hour off. I'm totally fine with going a few minutes more, but I don't want somebody to feel bad if they have to if they have to hop up because they have a, an appointment or something. So
I need to hop off, and I have to apologize. I had to take a
You're
call.
fine.
I'm waiting for a VA inspector to call me, or no, a pest inspector to call me for a VA loan. So I apologize. I had to mute myself and take a phone call. And of course it wasn't him, but so I apologize. But it was really nice to see you all and meet you all, and good luck out there, and have a good rest of your week.
Yeah. And I'll send everybody's info and the link to this after we're
That'd be
done
great.
if people want to reference it, Anna. So no, thanks for joining. We appreciate it.
Take care, everybody.
I need to scoot too. Great to hang with you guys. Really enjoyable conversation, and good luck with continuing to rock it out there. We are in a blessed time. We are all busy, so.
Yep. And actually, we can wrap up. I got one. Michelle, if you got to hop off, totally fine. I know you are back to back, but
I know.
I do want to.
Enjoy your day.
No, you're fine. I do want to do this. If some of you know this, we just launched this like a month ago. This is the Real Producers app. Everybody see that on the screen share? Okay. Currently, it's free, and it will probably remain that way for a little while. But everybody has access to the app digitally, so which is pretty cool. I've thought. So the way you download it, I would get a copy on your phone while it is free. It's we're still working kinks out and whatnot, but there you go, right there. This is how it is. It's called Digipub, DIGAPUB. Choose Illinois, Chicago Real Producers. You have to create an account, but it has access to all like the past event links, and then also to all the past issues, which is pretty cool. So I'm scrolling through it right now. I'm screen sharing my iPad, just flipping through it. So it's one of those things where we sunk a chunk of change into it, and I think it was Nick, you said your digital presence has to be a little bit better. We didn't plan on doing this year, but with COVID hit, we've had a little more time to do in-home work. I don't know if that's how you want to say it, but you know what I mean. We're not out in the field, so it's just something that's kind of cool, and people can have access to all the past issues since we launched. So that I may have paused right on that page for intentionally, may not, but I'll send everybody's info out. If you're interested in hopping on another one of these, let me know. We should have maybe 1 or 2 more in September and even October. So I appreciate everybody's time, and just for your contribution. We run these because it helps the field, and so they're not scripted, they're just organic, people asking questions. But as time goes on, more stuff's going to come up, and if we all band together and put our heads together and how to navigate it, I mean, that's really the goal of these. So thanks for your contribution. Have a productive day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you so much, Andy. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
See ya.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye-bye.